What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. Today, we're going to do episode 2 in my ongoing series, Why Baz Why? And episode 2 is not really that ongoing, but we're going to work on this and belt some episodes out. Just been busy with life. You guys know, started a new job. And it's summertime, got all the yard work and housework and blah, blah, blah. But we're going to try to get this series going and at least do an episode every 2 weeks or so. I want to say thank you for the feedback I got from the first episode. Thanks, guys. I mean, I had like 50-something comments on that video, and that's awesome for my channel. I don't have the biggest sub list. And the highest number of views, but man, that was awesome, guys. I appreciate it. Now, I've got a couple of 2 or 3 questions that I'm going to answer that I got from viewers, and I'll try to keep it short and to the point, but you know me, I'm a little long-winded, and I got opinions, and I'm going to put them on you guys. So the first thing is I got this as a question from a viewer, and I don't remember who. I didn't write it down. But the question was, why do I think we're seeing such a renewed interest in traditional build knives, slip joint type knives? And, these knives are mostly, you think about these knives, you think about brands like Case Knives, like GEC, Great Eastern Cutlery, Hen and Rooster, and Bear and Sons doing these, and I mean, just there's so many companies on the low end and the high end, a lot of American-made product in the traditional slip joint arena. And the reason I think we're seeing a renewed interest in these knives, it's a stage in the evolution of the cutlery world. And what I mean by that is, it's just like clothing. You see the same trends come back every couple of decades, every 25 years or 30 years, you'll see an evolution of a previous style. You see the previous style, but you're getting an evolutionary version of it. New materials or whatever as far as clothes go. In knives, the same thing. We're seeing traditional build types and traditional design types. Take the Barlow pattern that we see, and we're seeing it in new materials with higher end blade steels, higher end materials, more modern, high end, say CNC type of machining. And that's the same thing we see in a lot of different knives. The evolution of different types of knives, we see that. And the reason I think we see that is multiple different reasons, really. You've got a segment of people that want to push modernization of different types of knives. They see these traditional slip joint knives that are in older materials, carbon steels and nickel and bone and different materials that were traditionally used 50 years ago by older companies. They want to see these knives in new materials. They want to see it in titanium. They want to see it in high-end super steels. They want to see carbon fiber and Kevlar and those type of synthetics used for handle materials. So you've got the modernist, and then you have the romantist or romantic type of person that there is sort of the way they view these knives, because of maybe in their youth their grandfather carried one, their father or uncle carried one. That's what they saw when they were young. And as they grew old or older, they moved away from those traditional knives into more modern knives. I could see someone that is 20, 25 years old that is really caught up in the modern world of high-end flipper folders. I mean, you got titanium and super steels and carbon fiber and ceramic bearings and fit and finish and build quality that surpasses anything that the knife world has seen previous to, say, the last 5 or 10 years. But they still remember grandfather, father, uncle, and it's almost like a comfort food. There is a comfort, a romantic notion of feeling, an emotional feeling that you get from using something that you remember from your youth, from better times, maybe from a family member that is no longer with you. I could just imagine that a lot of the renewed interest in traditional slip joint knives are because there are a lot of knife enthusiasts out there that their grandfather used a slip joint. They carried something like this little case knife right here. This is actually my grandfather's knife, and this knife is a two-blade pattern. Then this particular one was made from 1960 to 1965. So this knife is actually older than I am, and I'm pretty doggone old now, approaching 50 years old actually. But that knife is older than me. It was my grandfather's knife, and my grandfather is no longer with me. But I do have his knife, and it holds memories for me. And I see that with the enthusiast world. It's a fact of life that people don't live forever, even the ones we love and cherish. And the things, the material things that they leave behind can hold a lot of good memories for us. And I think that's what we see, at least in my opinion, most of all, that is driving this renewed interest, a resurgence in traditional knives with modern build and modern materials. All right, the next question was, Baz on Blades, do you prefer a polished edge on your knives? Now, I've mentioned a few times, and I've done one video. I've got, for my sharpening system, I use a KME sharpener and recommend the KME if you want a professional quality edge from a clamp type system. Maybe you came from a Lansky clamp type system and you want to upgrade to something that is much better, much more refined, much more controllable. I love the KME. And before the KME, I never did mirror polished edges on my knives. I just didn't have the kit to do it. But when I got my KME, I was able to do polished edges up to a certain degree. I didn't do the super mirror polish because, frankly, I don't have the patience. I don't have the extended kit to do them. But I can, with my kit, I can sharpen up to 4 micron. And that means I'm sharpening to 1500 grit diamond, and then I go to a translucent Arkansas stone, which is 1800, 2000 grit, and then I follow that up with a strop with 4 micron diamond emulsion on it, and I'm able to go to a fairly decent mirror edge. Now, I've been carrying this this Kershaw Emerson CQC6 to work. And I don't know if you guys can see that, if it's going to. You can see that there's pretty much a polished edge on it. Now, keep in mind, I have been carrying and using this knife daily for a couple of months now, say 2 months. And it has not been touched up, it has not been resharpened at all. And I really did, before I started working, I loved this mirror edge. And I still do like a mirror edge. It's a good looking edge. If you've got a high-end knife and a fantastic steel and you want to show the degree, the level of knife enthusiast that you are, a mirror edge is great for that. We've all seen it before. These guys that we have a lot of respect for on YouTube or the internet, and they've got knives, their knife collection averages in the $200 to $1,000 range, and they do these mirror edge edges on these knives. There's something about that type of edge that really works with those higher end knives, and even on the lower end knives. But I'm going to tell you right now, it is not the best edge for everything. Now, if you want to slice paper, you want to shave hair, you want to do very fine, detailed, micro edge type of work with a knife, then yes, a mirror polished edge is great for that. But I do not find it to be the best edge for a work knife. And it depends on the material you are cutting with it. And I'm going to show you something, for example, that I came across in my workplace, that a mirror edge is terrible at cutting. And that is banding material. Now, we'll try to get up close and look at this. This is vinyl plastic, very strong banding material. It's not steel banding, but it is very strong. It's nice and heavy. You can see sort of the edge of it. See how heavy it is. And it's a very slick, polished material, and it's very tough at the same time. And that is not a combination that you commonly see when you are using your knives. Things are typically either tough and coarse, or they're slick and easier to cut. And in this instance, it combined those two attributes into something that this mirror edge would not cut. It would not cut at all. What it did is it would slide on that material. It would just slide, guys. It wouldn't bite and cut that material at all. It was a terrible, terrible edge for that type of material. Now, if you take some cardboard, though, and please, I've been using this for a couple of months, so it is not super duper sharp. But if you take some cardboard and you want to cut cardboard with it, man, it's great, guys. I'm cutting off just little thin slices of cardboard here. You know, I mean, look at this right here. That's just little. If it was paper, it would be a little curly cue. And it's just, you know, it cuts just fine, guys, as far as cardboard goes. So that will show you right there that even though this mirror edge, I mean, that looks fantastic, even though it's scuffed up from use, guys, but look at the light play across that edge. And it's something that if you can do yourself with your sharpening kit, you can be really proud of doing. But no, it is not the best edge for all media that you would be cutting. And that is something you have to take into consideration and be honest with. I think when I resharpen this knife, what I am going to do is I am going to go back through a diamond progression up to 1500 grit, and then I'm going to hit it with the translucent Arkansas, say the 1800, 2000 grit, somewhere around there, and then I'm going to stop. I may strop the edge and do basically what it would be a micro bevel type of strop, just to clear up the edge just a little, and I mean just a couple of strokes. But beyond that, I'm not going to take it any further than that. And that will be a razor sharp edge. 1500 grit diamond, 1800 grit translucent Arkansas is much finer than any knife edge that you will get from any factory and 99.9% of custom makers. Typically, factory edges, I'm going to say, will not exceed 400 grit, guys. And that may feel smooth, but you put it under a microscope and it's fairly coarse edge. But it is toothy and it will cut aggressively. And there you go. Polished edge or not, It's not really a set answer except to say take an honest look at the material that you're going to be using it on. If you want to shave the hair off of your arm, then put a mirror polish on that thing. If you want to slice hair, fillet hair, guys, and show off, put that mirror edge on there. But if you're going to go out and do some actual work, and you're going to range from coarse to smooth sort of cutting media that you have to get through, a little toothier edge will do you much better. All right, the next question, I'm going to roll straight from the edge top, and I'm going to use that knife as an example. And the next question is, Baz on Blades, are you a steel snob or not? And the answer to that is a resounding no. This is going to differ from 99% of all the channels that you will find on YouTube. 99.9% of everybody you see post on a forum or on Facebook. I am not a blade steel snob. I'm a design snob. And I buy knives that the design appeals to me aesthetically, the way it looks, and functionally and ergonomically, the way that it is a user. And that is the first thing that I judge a knife on. The second thing is a sliding scale that has to do with the price and materials. That said, I'm not going to pay $100 for a knife with a cheap blade steel, but I would be proud to own a well-designed knife for $25 or $30 that had that same cheap blade steel. And by cheap, I'm going to say I typically will not duck below the average mid-level stainless steel. And in this case, with this Kershaw, that is HCR13 MOV, which is a mid-grade, high-carbon stainless steel. Is it going to get a lot of respect? No. Is it going to hold an edge forever? No. But this knife has been used daily, every day, all day, in a factory by me, and has not been resharpened for at least 2 months, guys, and still has a great working edge. No, it won't shave hair. It's not going to slice a magazine paper like a laser through butter, but it still has a great working edge, and that is a steel that a lot of people have zero respect for. HCR13 MOV, a steel that is a working steel. Another knife in a mid-grade steel, 14C28N. That's a Sandvik steel. That was one that you would consider to be towards the upper tier of that mid-grade level. Another steel in this Ganzo, and that's 440C, a blade steel that people love to hate on, and it's not bad at all. It is not bad at all, guys. I love 440C. I like 14C28, and I like HCR13 MOV. I like AUS 8. I just didn't pull out a knife with it. In my pocket is a cold steel that is in a higher end steel, and that is CTS XHP, a much higher performing steel than any of these mid-grade steels. But you see, I still have those knives with the lower end mid-grade stainless steels. And you're not going to find me get on YouTube in any of my videos and talk bad about those steels. Now, I will be honest about them. No, none of those steels, no matter how they are heat treated, are going to hold an edge or perform like this knife in a high-end, well heat treated stainless steel. They never will. It is not possible. They're not going to do it, guys. But are they junk? No, they are not junk. They are respectable mid-grade steels. The knife community, the knife enthusiast community, is a little spoiled. We have steels that have become available in the last 2 decades that the steels have spoiled us. You see these people every day, and they are like, well, if it doesn't have at least S35 VN, I'm not even going to consider buying it. Why? Why would you not consider buying a fabulously designed, lower cost knife as a beater just because it doesn't have a high-end steel in it? There's no reason to be that way, in my opinion. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to think, how to feel about something. I'm not here to tell you that my opinion is more important than yours. I'm just giving you a different viewpoint. In my opinion, these mid-grade steels, say 440C and higher, you're looking at 440C, a couple of Sandvik steels in the 12C27, 14C28, you've got HCR13 MOV, AUS 8. On the higher end of those mid-level steels, you're looking at things like VG10, N690, maybe old school 154 CM, ATS 34 at the higher end of this mid-grade before you break in, crossing over, say at the CPM S30V level, you're going to cross over there into the higher end of stainless steels. And, these medium grade steels, in all honesty, guys, for those of you that haven't been around for a long time, for those of us that have, these steels, the 440C, the HCR13s, the 14C28s, these steels perform better than anything that was around when I was a kid. There was no steel commonly available at that time that performs as good as medium grade stainless steels do in 2018, and these are steels that people give such a hard time to that it is it's almost ridiculous, in my opinion. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with a stainless steel that doesn't hold an edge as long as a super steel. That doesn't mean that these steels are bad, guys, because I'm going to tell you right now, 2 months of use on this knife right here in a factory environment, cutting banding material, cutting cardboard, cutting wood, that's not bad. To go 2 months in between sharpening, guys, that's not bad at all. Just because that's a cheap knife does not mean that's cheap performance. No, it's not as good as the super steels, guys. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying that for those of you that want to set a limit in your collection as far as steel types go, I'm not saying that you can't set that limit at whatever level that you want. I am proud of you for putting that much thought into your collection. If you don't want to own a knife that has a steel lower than CPMS 35 VN, then damn it, that's your prerogative, and you can do whatever you want with your hard-earned dollars. I'm just saying to all of you out there that spend a lot of time watching knife reviews, and you see all these opinions that are very harsh as far as these mid-grade stainless steels go, I think these opinions are a little harsh. And in my opinion, you can be very, very well served by the HCRs, 440Cs, 14C28s, 12C27s, OS 8s of the knife world, guys. And that's pretty much the long and the short of that for me. Again, I think the knife design matters way more than the blade steel, given whatever price point that you're comfortable spending on that blade steel. All right, guys, so there you go. We've covered the renewed interest in slip joints, why I think we're seeing that. We've covered edge types. Do I want a polished edge on my knives, and what for? What are the pros and cons of the polished edge? And we've covered whether Baz-On Blades is a blade steel snob. And I think that you guys that have been around for a while probably already knew my answer to that. Maybe a little bit better now. Alright guys, I hope you enjoy this video. We're going to keep this series going. As I said before, drop your questions in the comments. For you new viewers, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this, guys. Give me your comments and feedback. Let me know what you think. And we'll try to get some new content up as soon as we can here at Baz-On Blades. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.